Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kitchen Chat. I'm your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I am delighted and honored you're joining me here in my kitchen today during this busy time as you get ready for Thanksgiving. I count each of you as a blessing in my life, and I'm so grateful for your being listeners and viewers during my culinary journey, and I'm so glad you're joining me for this. And as a special thank you, I wanted to present a special feature for this Thanksgiving, and that is a collection of tips from 3 top culinary experts about how to effortlessly prepare your Thanksgiving turkey. So first up will be Russ Parsons, who is the food editor of LA Times. Then we will hear from Ujlaki, who is the executive food editor of Food and Wine magazine. And then last we'll hear from Cowin, who is editor-in-chief of Food and Wine magazine. So thank you so much for tuning in, and always remember to savor the day.
The dry brine turkey is something that I learned about. I started writing about it maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it came about through, there was a woman who was a wonderful chef in San Francisco named Judy Rogers, and she had a great restaurant called Zuni Cafe, one of the San Francisco classics. And I was talking to her. One of the hallmarks of her cooking was that whenever she got proteins into the kitchen, whether it was duck or beef or chicken, or her roast chicken was really, really famous. The first thing she did was salt them and then store them. And I had done a story about it. And I had found that like with chicken and with things like that, it made a huge difference in flavor without being excessively salty or even detectably salty. It improved the texture of the meat. It was moister but firmer. And I asked her if she, when the holidays came around, I asked her if she'd ever done it with turkey, and she said, "Actually, I never have, but let me know how it works." And so I tried it with turkey, and it was amazing. And I was somebody who had always been a wet briner for turkey, and that works, and it keeps the meat moist. But first you have to somehow juggle a big old bucket full of salt brine with a turkey in it for 3 days or 4 days or whatever. Right. And then also when you wet brine, sometimes the meat, and well, I'll just go ahead and say always, the meat is excessively moist sometimes. It's like it almost squishes when you slice it. When I tried dry brining, the meat stays firm. It's like a firm muscle, but it's moist. It doesn't dry out, and it's evenly seasoned all the way through. And it's a really, 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 really simple technique. I mean, basically what you do is you sprinkle a tablespoon of salt for every 5 pounds of bird. Okay. So like a 20-pound bird, you would use about a quarter cup of salt.
And do you use kosher sea salt, or what kind of salt?
I use kosher. Yeah, kosher. Okay. Kosher for the measurement. And then you put it in a plastic bag. You seal it in a plastic bag, and you refrigerate it for 3 days. And every morning, pull it out and just kind of rub it to redistribute the salt. And the last day, pull it out of the refrigerator, take it out of the bag, pat it dry, and then put it back in the refrigerator for a couple of hours to air dry. And then you roast it just as you normally would. And it's the best turkey you'll ever eat. And I've had every year literally hundreds of emails from readers attesting to that.
Wow, I am going to try that this year, and I will document it on video, listeners. So
it was one of Food 52's genius recipes.
Oh, so. I love that. Thank you, Russ Parsons. That was so much fun to learn the dry brining technique for a turkey. Now we'll hear from Ujlaki, who is the executive food editor of Food and Wine magazine, and she even provides some wonderful insight about how to fry a turkey. Enjoy. And I was just wondering if you have a special way to brine your turkey, or how you kind of prep it for Thanksgiving.
Well, I am very, very basic about the turkey, because I feel like the turkey is just sort of there as the centerpiece. You have to have it on your plate because it's what you eat everything else with.
Right.
So I'm lazy when it comes to the turkey. I usually put pancetta under the skin, and a whole bunch of herbs and onions inside, and sometimes I put bacon on the outside instead of the pancetta, and then I just roast it. And I make my gravy ahead, so I don't have to worry about taking the turkey out of the pan and using the drippings. I make my gravy sometimes a week ahead.
Oh.
So I'll make stock, and I'll brown bones and make stock and cook it all the way down, and then make a gravy, and sometimes I even put it in the freezer.
Quick question, do you use an electric carver or a carving knife?
I just use a knife. I have an electric slicer that my mother gave me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little afraid of it. A lot of noise, and it goes really fast, and it feels like a chainsaw.
Yes.
And, right. So, no, I just use a nice sharp knife.
That is wonderful. Now, about the fried turkey, I've never fried a turkey. What was that experience like, and was it a little scary? Does the grease pop out, or how does that work?
Well, the grease, as long as your turkey is dry when it goes in, and we, I know a lot of people who do that outside. We don't have outside here, and please don't tell our building inspectors that we did this, but we actually did it inside, and it just so happened that a new product came out last year exactly in time. We're cooking turkey in July, basically, is when we're working on our November issue. Sometimes it's June, sometimes it's August, but it's definitely the middle of the summer. But a new deep fryer came out that was specifically designed for turkey. So I was like, we'll try out the new product, and we can also fry our turkey. So we actually had a countertop turkey deep fryer that we got to fry it in.
Wow.
So it wasn't frightening at all. And I think it revolved, so the turkey was really, really beautifully cooked. I think it was actually everybody's favorite turkey.
That sounds delicious. What fun. It sounds like such a fun place to work, Tina.
It's a pretty great place to be, I have to say.
Oh, my goodness. And I
have to say. But, on our website, I was just looking, and I couldn't believe it. We have 185 turkey recipes. No, that was probably not all for a whole turkey, but there's too much to choose from sometimes. It's really amazing.
And great ideas for the leftovers, because you're always like, what do I do with all of this turkey? So that's a great resource for what to do after Thanksgiving with all the turkey. Thank you, Tina. That was so much fun to get a behind-the-scenes peek at Food and Wine and how they prepare for Thanksgiving each year. Our final guest today is Dana Cowin, who is the editor-in-chief of Food and Wine magazine. She shares some wonderful stories about how she celebrates Thanksgiving and provides a great tip for making the perfect turkey. Be sure and check out her new cookbook called Mastering My Mistakes in the Kitchen. It is a wonderful resource with great recipes and fun stories that will help give you confidence in your kitchen. So enjoy. First of all, do you have any special food traditions for your holidays? And also, what are some of the recipes from the book that listeners might try to bring new holidays to their table?
We do have a bit of a tradition in my house. We all go to my mother's, and my mother is the most wonderful host. She loves having people over. She sets a remarkable table. She's excellent at shopping for desserts, but she actually doesn't cook, as I mentioned. So even though she is the hostess, she's not the cook. So she basically gets our Thanksgiving dinner from a takeout shop, which, as you can imagine, it's actually quite good.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less work. For the longest time, I have not had to contribute anything to the Thanksgiving holiday table, even though from time to time I really want to. In my book, I talk about the simplest turkey ever. My problem with making a roast turkey is that you need to turn the turkey in the middle. And, a hot, greasy, slippery bird that's quite heavy and not at a very easy angle to reach because it's inside your oven, always daunted me. And I've torn skin. I've made this beautiful turkey sort of get a little modeled. So Jonathan Waxman from Barbudo is the one who said, you know what, you can actually just cook the turkey, in the same direction the entire time with the breast side down. And to me, that was the greatest release, he just made me feel like, okay, I can do this. So that was one great trick. And then I heard this other great trick that I loved, which is if you're worried about the breast meat cooking at a different rate than the legs, because the breast meat often dries out while the legs are still cooking, all you need to do is take the turkey, turn it upside down in a bowl of ice where only the breast touches the ice, and all of a sudden you'll chill the breast meat down enough that when it cooks in the oven, the legs will cook more quickly because they're at a higher temperature when it goes into the oven. And I just thought that was the most brilliant tip I'd ever heard.
That was so much fun to hear Dana's stories. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and viewing Kitchen Chat today. I hope you have a very special celebration this Thanksgiving. Please keep in touch with me via Twitter, which is @McSweeney, Facebook, Kitchen Chat, and Instagram, Margaret McSweeney. I truly, truly do count you as a blessing during this time of thanks. And always remember to take a moment and savor the day